I love it.
So,
I wish they had a capital prep when I was going to school.
well, that would make me a lot older or you a lot younger. So we're gonna stay
We
with what
needed
we got now.
it.
Listen, so, why I'm so excited to talk to you is because okay, so you won 3 Emmys, like that's dope, and like you've been acting since like 4 years old or something ridiculous like that. But I don't think that that's the most interesting thing about you. Like I don't even think that's kind of the most interesting thing about you. You have decided that you're not going to allow your art to limit who you are.
That's
Why? Like, why don't you just shut up and act, man? Like, why you got to be
big.
out here talking about stuff?
Yeah, it's like shut up and dribble, right?
Right, right.
Um, to be honest with you, and I talk a lot about it in my book that acting is my passion, but activation is my purpose.
Hold on, the light went off. Keep going.
It really is, just that. Like I know that when I was created, Most High created me to be a servant that helps to move the chains of humanity. So I think at our best, and I think this is why forgive me if I'm saying anything that may misrepresent what you may be feeling, but every person that I know who lives a life of purpose has great peace every day walking out their purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Far too many people roam the face of this earth never knowing why they're here. So watch this. I don't know why not you, Dr. Perry, but just the proverbial you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you're here, but I can tell you why you're not here. You're not here to simply pay bills and die. You're not here to get a job, go through your 9 to 5, get to the weekend, trash yourself, recover, by Sunday night, get there Monday morning, do the same thing over and over and over and over again. I know that Most High, God, I know that you were not created to do that. I know that. I know for a fact that every single person that has pursued or unlocked their purpose from their pain gets to live a peaceful life.
You unlock your purpose from your pain.
Yes.
You could have kept your pain to yourself. Like, you don't have
Yes.
to do this. You're
Right.
a man. You're a black man. Black men are supposed to be tough. I talked to somebody from a well-known magazine, and I said to them, I never see Brother Smile on your cover. And he's like, nah, that's not really the case. Why you got to talk about your pain? Like, you could have just let that go.
Yeah, that's a great question, bro. It's so because I know if I keep that to myself, no one benefits from that. So if I keep my pain and what my pain did, we know the saying that hurt people, right? So if I just allowed my hurt, and by the way, my father created a great deal of pain inside of me.
Yours too?
Yes. So at 6 years old, my father kidnapped me from my mother. And I was abandoned in the back seat of his car, woke up not knowing where he was. It's about 3 a.m. A Brooklyn street that looks like it's in a movie. One street light on, it's dark, it looks scary. At 6 years old, you feel like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And all I remembered was that I knew my address, I knew my phone number, and I had to figure out a way to get back to my mother. At 13 years old, my father taught me how to be a great cheater, because what he told me was one of the few times he ever picked me up, when my mother finally trusted, okay, he's trying to get his life together. I'm going to give him an opportunity to spend some time with his son. And we're in his car, and he says to me, I love your mother, and I would do anything for her. That's the only thing a child ever wants to hear from their parents, is that they love each other, right? But in the very next breath, my father looked out the driver's side window, and cat calls out to a woman across the street. And in that moment, while he didn't say it, the messaging I got was, you can love one woman and lust after many. And that created this space of me being a cheater, because I'm saying to myself, well, if it's good enough for my father, it's good enough for me, right? So that really started my trajectory. And it wasn't until I was dating someone that I cheated on where I had to figure out where that came from. Because contrary to popular opinion, most of our sisters think that guys don't go through great pain when they cheat.
Talk about that, because
yeah.
I think what you're saying is that there are many women who feel like because a man cheats,
yes,
because a man cheats, he doesn't love the woman that he's with or like the woman that he's with.
That's right.
But you're saying that both can be true. That
absolutely.
Or what are you saying? Let me put words in your mouth.
Absolutely.
What are you saying?
Absolutely that. So a couple of things could be happening at the same time. And by the way, I counsel in this area. Either a male hasn't been given the information that is necessary for him to properly matriculate into manhood and be geared up for a healthy, loving, nurturing relationship, or he is, so I'm going to sort of reverse engineer this for a second. I'm kind of speak around the point, but get right back to it. I always tell, in the couples that I counsel, I always tell the sister this: if you're trying to get your partner's attention, if you're trying to get your husband's attention, don't withhold sex. Don't punish him by withholding sex. Here's why. You can effectively get your partner's attention, your man's attention, by not feeding him, by not doing his laundry, by not doing the things that you know is a representation of care from you. You will get his attention. But when he fulfills his needs that are necessary, that you're not giving him, he isn't violating the terms of your relationship when he does. So in other words, when you don't feed him, when you don't make him food, and he cooks food for himself, he's not violating the terms of your marriage.
Okay. But let me push you on that, though. Let me push you on that. Because many women will tell you, Dondre, that they can't have sex with somebody who they're not attracted to. They can't be attracted to somebody who they think is doing them dirty.
So now watch this.
Okay.
If you think your partner is doing you dirty, whatever that means, let's go to the ultimate. Let's say, I think you're doing me dirty, which is I think you're cheating. If you really think that, you shouldn't be in a relationship with this person. But if you are in relationship with someone that you love, that is simply not performing in certain areas that you would like him to perform in, the way to get him to perform is not to withhold sex from him. Because what's going to happen... But is it a
withholding, though? Is it a withholding?
Yes.
It's
actually...
Okay.
It's actually a form of punishment.
Okay.
If our sisters were being real, and I know because I've talked to hundreds in the air when I counsel, never mind when I, as a speaker, when I go into these areas and I have dialogue with sisters in the room and I say by show of hands. So now that number goes into the thousands now. Sisters are using sex and withholding sex as a form of punishment.
You're saying they consciously decide that
Consciously decide. Look,
and they still want to? Because is it withholding something if you don't want to do it?
now, here's the thing. It's withholding when you know that it is critical and essential for your relationship. Watch this.
Okay.
I had to tell my wife, and we just gonna keep it we just gonna keep it 1,000, bro.
Otherwise, there ain't no interest in you and I having
What's
a
the
conversation.
point?
Right.
What is the point? Why are we here? Okay.
Right.
I had to tell my wife, I said, babe, let me explain something to you. You are my helpmate. I am your helpmate. I am only interested in us being together if we are going to be each other's helpmate. If I want a roommate, it won't be you.
Okay.
It won't be you. Here's why. The reason why I say that is because in a roommate, you have somebody who, let's say me and you decide we room up. God forbid we lose our relationship.
That
would be tragic.
That would be unfortunate. I love you, but I don't want to be a roommate. I got you.
Too, right? But if we didn't have our wives and we decided, yo, we gonna roommate up, you're not gonna trip if I just put my jacket on the back of this chair. You're not gonna trip if I watch 3 basketball games and a football game, or you're not gonna trip over that because you're probably gonna be watching too, right? So we see eye to eye, level to level, as far as roommating is concerned. The reason why helpmate is different is because my wife has been designed to see things that I can't see.
Well, okay. Well, let me just say that. Say here, because if I understand what I think you're trying to say, or what you're saying, if I think I understand what you're saying, it is that if you don't want your man to cheat, have sex with him.
It would behoove your relationship. Now,
but let's just say
wait. Let me put a pin in that, because I can hear all the sisters right now losing their minds.
This are you, brother.
Because what they're saying is, Brother Dondre, are you saying that now he gets a pass for cheating because I didn't give him sex? That's not what I said at all. What I'm saying to you is this. I want you to look at this like a meal. A man needs certain things in order for him to get along in a relationship, just as a woman needs certain things to get along in a relationship. If I said to you, Steve, I said, after you ate, after about 5 hours and you were hungry, I said, hey, Steve, go in that garbage can. I just put some food in there. Grab you a plate. Make you a plate from out of that garbage can. You'd go, what? I'm not making no plate out of that garbage can, man. You crazy? Okay. You wait a day. You wait 2 days. 3 days. You don't get to eat. You will begin looking at that garbage can differently than you looked at it after not eating for just 3 hours, because now it's been 3 days. But still, you're like,
I get you, but in a more practical sense, people decide to cheat.
But see, that's the
people decide to cheat. But listen, people decide to cheat because they want to, and people want you for different reasons.
Listen,
and some of them are doing it even though the woman that they're with is, let's say, sexually active with them. They don't want it simply because a person wants to be with someone different than the person that they're with. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person that they're with has fallen short on what it is that they're being asked to provide.
We're not talking about all cases. That would be like saying that all black people love hip hop, or all white people are racist, all Jewish people have long curls, or That is absolutely nothing. We can't say anything. We're not talking about that. What we are talking about right now is that I've said this to my wife, I'm like, look, babe, my responsibility is to keep me out the street. What I want you to do is to make it easy for me to not be in the street at all.
But can she do that, though? Is that hers to do?
Did you just hear what I said? Yes, it is.
Really?
It absolutely.
So
look,
if
watch
your
this.
wife,
Okay,
if you
wait,
cheat,
wait.
it's a failing on your wife's behalf?
That's not what I said.
Okay.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Okay.
What I'm saying to you is that as my partner, I'm going to set you up for success. If your wife doesn't have sex with you, look, I'm in a heterosexual relationship. If my wife decides she's not going to have sex with me at all again, I'm leaving this relationship. Now, you can have an imaginary conversation, but I'm gonna have a real conversation.
No, there's nothing imaginary about this, because here's what I know.
Right.
What I know is this: you can speak for what you say you said to your wife, and so the question I'm compelled to ask you is, if you were to, or if someone were to cheat, are we saying that that is the result of a failing of their partner to fulfill their needs?
That's you. Now, I've said no to that 3 times, Steve.
Okay.
You are not going to set me up for failure.
I'm not setting you up for failure.
Okay,
I'm trying
so
to
I
push
want
you on this. Because when you say, when I hear you say, this is what I'm telling you what I hear you say. What I hear you say when you say that is, in order to make sure that your man doesn't cheat, one of the things you must do is make sure you give him sex. Am I missing that?
Here's what I want you to get. So I'm going to state this plainly. In our partnership, there are things that we need to give our partner to set them up for success.
Okay.
If you know, particularly, there are many women who get into a relationship with their man, and they know that sex was a large part of how they came together in the first place. So now we get married. Here's what happens. We stop dating. Here's where guys, most of the time, we as guys, we fail. We stop dating our wives. We begin treating our wives like inanimate objects, like a vase or a lamp that's just going to be there and never capable of movement. We got our wives by dating them, by tantalizing them, by intriguing them, right? And because now we're married, we stopped doing that. What I had to do in order to set our marriage up for success was to continue dating my wife.
What does that look like?
That looks like leaving love notes, leaving a text message that might be a little on the dirty side. Okay. Sometimes, leave a rose on the bed. Sometimes, come up for no reason, come up behind you, hug you, kiss you, not for the sake of having sex, but just for the sake of doing the kinds of things that I know that I did when we were dating. So
let me see if I can engage on this, because I want to make sure that I understand what you're saying. What I think I hear you saying is that it is incumbent upon both people to engage each other in a way where they feel wanted, which in your language would mean sex. In other people's language, it might mean that they care about what their interests are. Like they care if you're studying, if your wife is back in college, asking them about what their studies are. Whatever it is whatever that trigger is for them, that love language. I think I hear you saying to speak to that love language. Is that what I hear you saying?
For sure. And for the most part, here's the thing. Most women, for the most part, not all, for the most part, women are emotional first. for the most part, not all, men are physical first. So now I have to be able to speak to where my wife's emotions are. Know that she's going to operate from that particular point of view. I will probably react from a point of view that is physical, which is why sometimes males who are untrained in this area of being men can be very dangerous without training, because they rely on their physicality first and
What do
not
you mean
their
by that?
mentality.
How do you train a man to not be rely on his physicality?
So like a reflex, right? If I hit your knee, if I banged your knee with the rubber mallet, your leg would go up because it's a reflex, right? We are born, we are built with a certain level in masculinity, a certain level of physicality that we use naturally. Before we were in a quote unquote civilized society, if we weren't in these, if you weren't wearing a bow tie, if we weren't in a civilized society at a specific age, you would be taken out and you would be taught how to hunt. It is innate. If you look at, my son is 13 years old. I've coached his baseball teams, basketball teams. Every single boy mom whose son that I had have all come to me and said, Coach Dre, what's wrong with my son? What's wrong with him? I go, nothing. He's a boy. Because he just does things that I don't understand. I'm like, precisely, because you have been geared to do something entirely different. This is why in my book, I talk about this very specifically. It was, I think, one of those points where people, it kind of struck a nerve, particularly in our community first, when I made this statement. And I said, most of our women are going to struggle in raising their boy by themselves, because you can't teach a boy how to be something you are not. So you need to be in partnership. Now watch this. I can hear sisters right now losing their mind right now as we speak. What you mean? I don't talk. His father can't teach him how to. I got to teach him how to be a man. Ma'am. I got an 18-year-old daughter. I am an extremely evolved man, very well read. I understand how to do this. Here's what I want you to get. I can't teach my daughter how to be a woman. You know why? Because I'm not one. I can't teach her how to be something I am not. Just like you can't teach me how to be a pilot just because you've been on a plane before. Just because you're passionate about flying. It doesn't make you capable of teaching me how to be a pilot, because you are not a pilot.
So what do we say then? So let's stay there. So I'm here in Harlem. I'm at our school here in Harlem, where the majority of my children are being raised by women, black women in particular.
Yes.
What am I supposed to say to them when they are in fact charged with raising a boy to be a man? What do I say?
You say,
like Chuck?
Nope. You say, here I am. And you straighten up your bow tie. And you say, I want you to bring Jackson, Daryl, Donald, Timothy, Anthony. I want you to bring them to me, because I am going to be the model that he mirrors. Because he's going to mirror something. Now watch this. Every time I have coached my son's teams, baseball, basketball, and the like, I can always tell when they don't have a man in their life that they can mirror.
What does that
And
mean?
here's how. Watch it.
Because you said, if
Yes.
I remember, was your father in a positive role in your life?
Now, I just told you he kidnapped me at 6 years old.
Well, brother, he came back and you said he was you at 13.
He teaches me how to cheat.
That was in the day, but did he do
now,
anything else?
Now watch this. At 13, that same year, later on that same year, he went to prison for manslaughter.
Well, that'll slow it down teaching, yeah, quite a bit.
Okay, so now he gets locked up for 13 years. I don't see him again until I'm 26. Now watch this. The reason why my father couldn't teach me was, guess why? Because he was never taught. You can't teach somebody how to be something you haven't been taught to be yourself.
But so then that would mean that no one could ever teach anyone to dream beyond their circumstances if they could not do it. That's what Kanye is saying. Kanye essentially said, if we got to inject him into a conversation for a moment, one of the things that he said very simply was, I'm not listening to people older than me, and I'm not listening to people who don't have as much money as I do. How'd that work out?
That brother right there, I pray for that brother. Let me tell you something. Everybody's throwing darts at Kanye, and I completely get it, because what he said about brother George Floyd, what he did with the White Lives Matter, what he said with Tucker Carlson, the statements, his actions have been, in my humble opinion, anti-black. I don't rock with nobody anti-black. I don't care if you're a black person and you spit anti-black, I'm cool on you. If you white and you anti-black, I'm cool on you. Anybody anti-black is anti-me, I'm cool on you. Kanye has been representing himself to be, in my humble opinion, anti-black. I'm cool on that.
Right, and I'm there too. And we'll come back here in a second.
Wait.
Okay,
let me give you this.
Okay.
His project, Donda, with all due respect to his mother. Have you ever heard Kanye talk about his father?
No.
Exactly. Because guess what?
What's the exactly? I missed it.
Watch this. I'm gonna give it to you. Come on, bro. You know I can. Come on.
I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting.
You know I got it.
I'm dressed and ready for it. Go ahead. Give me it.
The reason why, or not the reason, one of the biggest reasons why Kanye is how Kanye is because he has been missing a father figure his entire life.
That's really what it is. You don't think that he's just that shit? Like, you just don't think that, like, some things are just ordinarily dumb.
Let me explain something to you. I love my son to death. He's 13 years old. If my son was out here acting a complete and utter idiot, I would go and snatch my son up and sit him down and slow him down.
But here's the thing, because this is something that's
about accountability.
Sure. I got you.
And Kanye doesn't have that.
I got you. But here's the thing. I know and work with, and you know, too many people who bust their asses to be fantastic parents. They do everything that they can imagine in their life. Yep. There are people who are doctors and lawyers. There are people who are trash collectors and trash makers. There are people who hustle and they don't hustle. But whatever they do for a living, what they do in their life as a parent, they do everything they can, father, mother, and still a child has providence. If we think about it this way, if you think of from the Christian faith, where there was God, and then there was a Adam, and then there was an Eve. God himself gave folks the opportunity. I'm sorry, I'm in this classroom. Y'all forgive me.
It's got the automatic light.
Yeah. I'm in.
Yeah, so when you sit still, it goes off. I got you.
That's right. It's used to having an entire classroom full of children, folks. That's where I am. If y'all are just joining me, us, this is my man Dondre. You know him. I'm Dr. Steve Perry, and we are at Capital Prep here in Harlem. And I am in one of our classrooms, and the lights go on and off. Casile, if you're still in the building, come upstairs and move around. That'd be helpful. Anyway, I digress. So you and I both know. And yes, we're gonna get into Queen Sugar. We got. This is what Dondre. This is what our conversations like on the phone. So just be clear. Like, we just getting started. This thing ain't, y'all better call some friends. Like when you used to watch black people and black people be on TV, like black people on TV, you call everybody. Y'all need to call them because it's only going further from here. We just getting warmed up. But you know people who, and I know people who've done everything that we would reasonably expect them to do. They've been the man in the family. They've done the things that they need to do, and still their child is cracked out. Still the circumstances are what they are. Just like in the circumstance where, again, as I started to say, in the Christian faith, if you believe in God as it is in the Christian faith, you believe that there's such a thing as providence, that a person gets to make their own decisions. And so when he got to make his own decision, God said, look, I'm going to let you do anything you want to do. Anything you want to do, but just this apple thing, just ixnay on the apple say. And there it was, right? So here's the point. The point is that it's a challenge that we can oversimplify the parenting process, or in some cases complicate it by saying that a woman can't do something that she's charged to do. Right now, right here, I just let out 400 kids, most of whom don't have a mother and father who bore them living in the same house. What do we do?
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
My mother taught me how to be a phenomenal human being. She taught me how to be responsible. She taught me how to care for myself. She taught me how to care for others. My mother couldn't teach me about the very specialized struggle of being a man. It's different. It isn't the same. It's not the same skill set. It's not the same skill set in leading a household. And I can hear some of the sisters right now going, oh, so because you're the man, you're the leader of the house? No, I'm the leader of the house because I have specific skill sets that make me a phenomenal leader.
But let's say that. Could that be the case? I mean, would that be so wrong if you said that? If you said that because I'm a man? Like, because if you believe in male-female roles, if you believe in traditional male and traditional female roles, doesn't that come with the presumption that the man is the leader? I mean,
I wouldn't presume a man to be a leader because some, what I call grown males, need to be led. And
by their wife?
By anyone who has more sense or better skill sets.
Okay.
So let me explain this theory for everybody who's watching who's unfamiliar with my messaging. The book is called Male versus Man. I'm not trying to sell you a book.
No. I want you because it's not about selling the book. It's just about giving them information and support. There it is right there.
So this is the book. It's called Male versus Man. And
see that good looking brother on there? I go out to dinner with this dude, and then it's like, so this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna look like this while I'm sitting here like the ugly guy at the table.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is not okay. Like, you ain't gonna eat more than that, brother.
Meanwhile, show up as dapper as you always look. Come on, man, stop it.
Listen, I gotta overcompensate. I'm at the dinner table with this guy.
So
tell him why you wrote the book and why this is important, because it is important that you sell the book, because otherwise people won't know what it is in there and what's your point.
Well, what's important for me is in getting, I'm not selling the book as much as I'm selling the messaging. So I'm hoping that people, as they hear this, that will intrigue them to go, I need to go deeper and I need to get this book so I can go deeper into this messaging. People say male versus man. Isn't that the same thing? Absolutely not. Male is someone who looks to be served, while man is someone who looks to be of service. Males look to be served while men look to be of service. There's a gigantic difference between them. Male speaks to my anatomy. Man speaks to my assignment. As a man, I am a leader and a servant. I am a servant leader. So my job is to lead my wife, lead my children, and continuously grow myself every single day so that I am more capable of being the best leader possible. Now, with that being said, my leadership skill sets allow for my wife to trust that she can submit to my leadership.
You said that word. You said that
Absolutely.
word. You want this. You want this.
Submit.
So woo,
yes. Now watch this,
brother.
Wait. Listen, I do this, bro.
Okay.
And
all right. Let me sit back.
Class is in session.
Professor
Write these notes
Dondre
down.
is about to get it.
Particularly my sisters, I want you to hear this. I just said that my wife submits to me. But as a great leader, I also submit to my wife.
Okay, all right, play. You
Why?
put that one around smooth.
Why? Because I'm smart. My wife doesn't stand behind me. My wife doesn't even stand beside me. My wife, we are back to back. If I'm facing north, that means now my wife is facing south. We both see east and west. As a helpmate, our job is to be able to see, and I was talking about this earlier when I said helpmate versus roommate. Your helpmate has been sent to you because they see what you can't see. That's what makes them a help in the first place. You feel me? I don't want a roommate in my wife because she sees things differently than I see them. If I had a roommate, I would choose someone who sees things the way I see them in order for us to get along, minus sex.
Why do we have to? Why do we have to? Why do you think people react so negatively when you say, as a man,
yep,
you lead your house,
yep,
and your wife submits to you? Why is that such a bad thing in 2022?
Because we have a woman king mentality right now.
Oh, okay.
Now, Woman King was a phenomenal movie. It's a dope movie. It's a dope movie. It's a dope movie. It's a dope movie.
Okay.
Movie.
It ain't real, is what you're saying.
It ain't real.
Are you saying that as a man, it's incumbent upon you to run your house?
No, it's incumbent upon me to lead my house. Run my house means I dictate everything.
Oh, okay.
Lead,
okay.
you feel me? You
What's
feel big, gigantic difference.
Okay.
Leading, as a leader, I just told you that there are often times when I submit to my wife.
What's that look
if
like?
I was,
you submit when? Give me an example of how you might submit to your wife.
So sometimes my wife has a bunch of skill sets that I don't have. So if she has a skill set in a particular area that I don't have, then I say, babe, what do you think about this? Because I know you're stronger in this than I do. So I'm going to need your help in this. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? And then my wife says, well, this is what I think we should do. I'm like, okay, bet, let's do that. Now, I say, yes, let's do that. So as the leader, I just put it in her lap. I said, babe, what do you think we should do? She said, this is what I think we should do. I said, what? Let's do that. Boom. That's being a leader. Running the house means even when I lack skill sets in an area, I'm going to dictate what we do.
Was Will Smith manning up when he did what he did?
Why are you putting me in this position?
Brother, listen, you knew what we got to do. You know the assignment. This is what the people want to know.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, and I'm going to make this perfectly clear. And for those out here, I see a couple of people. How long you been married? Me and my wife been together for 25 years. I'm giving you the recipe. 25 years. I'm giving you the recipe. Don't question it. Write it down.
25 years in Hollywood.
25 years in Hollywood, which is like the equivalent of like 75. Okay. Don't question this. Just write this down and follow this recipe because I'm telling you, it works. Okay, now watch this.
Okay. I asked the question. People want to make sure I re-ask the question. I asked you the question. Was Will Smith manning up and handling his business as a father, as a husband? Was he running his house when he did what he did at the Oscars?
I'm gonna be honest with you. And Will is my brother. I love him. I love him. He actually is a friend of mine. If Will were being 1,000% honest with you, he would tell you that he was acting out of ego.
What's that mean?
Will could have been just as effective. Okay, let me take Will out of this. Let me put me in this situation.
You have a beautiful wife.
My wife is
stunning.
still the most beautiful woman I ever seen in my life.
Okay, I'll give you that. I thought you were about to say the most beautiful because I was like, you didn't meet my wife, but that's okay. So, but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I got you. For you. So, and I would imagine, especially in your industry,
yes,
people cross lines.
Get out of line. Yes. So let me tell you, let's put me in that situation. Wife sitting right here. I'm sitting right here. Chris says what he says. There's a history. He said something about my wife previously. Here's what I would have done knowing that a comedian is going to be a comedian. Given the kind of power that I do have, I would have done a preemptive strike because I already know, look, the last time we were in this position, you said something about my wife, said something slick. My wife didn't like it. I know we're going to be sitting front row. I know you're a comedian. You're going to do your job. You're going to be your comedian self. I'm going to do a preemptive strike right from the gate before the show even starts. Hey, Chris, let me holler at you for a second, bro. Hey, y'all, can y'all excuse us? Thank you.
You don't mean this. You don't mean you would have pulled the host aside. Look, I was at the DL, my brother. DL.
Now, did you ask me a question?
I'm asking you a question, but you really mean
Are
that?
you answering it for me or are you answering it for you?
I might be answering for both of us because I'm struggling to believe that you would have pulled Chris Rock aside before the Oscars and said, come on, don't talk about my wife.
Watch this.
Okay.
If I already know, so in my book, I talk about how there's two versions of me. And people are asking, after, before? I'm talking about before the show. And here's why. There's two versions of myself. There's Brooklyn Dre and there's Disciple Dondre.
Okay.
Now, people who don't know me think they know me because of the roles that they've seen me play on television.
Queen Sugar, that's what people want to keep. They want to come back to Queen Sugar. We got to get
Robert on the Cosby Show, Terrence on All My Children, blah, 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 blah,
Three-time Emmy Award winner.
Before all of those, before all of that, before any of that, I threw my hands in Brooklyn. Now, everybody's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, because they think they know you based on what they've seen you be in Hollywood.
Because you literally used to box. People don't
Listen to me, box. I had plenty of practice because as a light-skinned, then curly-haired kid.
Well, still.
Right, yeah. Shut up.
Let me just point it out.
I used to get a lot of practice because I would get, oh, you think you cute. Oh, you think you cute. Oh, you think you cute. So I'm having to throw hands every other day, my bro. So you don't understand. Brooklyn Dre will bust you upside the head quick, fast. I can't tell you. And size don't make a difference to me. Okay. Because I was always the smallest. So I was always forced to fight people bigger than me. I can give you a laundry list of cats that I had to bust in the mouth.
So you say then y'all just came off the red carpet. You know who the host is.
Yes.
So if Ricky Gervais is there, you do the same thing. You tell Ricky what he's gonna say.
Listen, if I know that, here's why. As a man, my responsibility, number one, is to protect my wife. My responsibility, number two, is to protect alter ego me from me. Because I already know that if this goes the wrong way, Brooklyn Dre is going to be trying to represent me. And when Brooklyn Dre represents me, people got to get bailed out of jail.
So you say your solution, were such a thing to happen, I think the Oscars may want to listen up if y'all inviting Dre to the event. You're saying you're going to pull the comedian aside and you're going to say to him, what?
Do me a favor. Hey, Chris, look, man, I know you got to do your job, but I'm just going to be real with you. The first time this happened, you said some things that hurt my wife. I'm going to be honest with you, man to man. I felt disrespected. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make it a thing. Tonight is a special night. I think I'm going to win my first Oscar. My wife, I'm not sure if you know or not, has alopecia. If this goes sideways, it's going to be an uncomfortable night for a lot of us. Man to man, I'm asking you to respect me, respect my wife, so we don't have to get into no funk.
But
and I know as
you think so.
Chris is 85 pounds. He don't want no smoke, bro.
Well, clearly, with all due respect, he sure did take a sucker punch.
Hey, look, he's from Brooklyn.
Okay, so I mean, he ain't no bitch because for whatever happened, Will Smith is 6'2" and whatever, and he was a straight sucker punch, and didn't press charges like a real G. So I'm saying all that's to say, so. My wife and I go to see DL. DL's in Connecticut where we are.
Yes.
DL, I'm sitting in the front row. DL says something. He asks me, he's like, hey, Doc, whatever. And then he sees my wife. He asks her a question. She gets nervous. She answers the wrong thing. He said, he's DL Hughley. It's about to happen.
Yeah. But you're not.
Show.
Yeah, but see, but this is different, Steve, because that situation is not going to go around the face of the earth. This is not the Oscars where everybody's going to see it. Your wife doesn't have alopecia. DL didn't disrespect her prior to this. You didn't feel disrespected by what he did the previous time. You're comparing apples to oranges, bro. It's a bad example.
Well, I don't know if it's a bad example because it's all relative.
It's a bad example.
It's all relative because
accurate.
I don't live in an international space. Will Smith does, thus is paid accordingly. I don't live in an international space, so I don't go to the Oscars. He does. That's the thing that. I don't live in an international space. I don't benefit from the fact that my face is on the cover of many a magazine, has been on everything, and I've been treated accordingly. So, no, I don't live in that space. But in my space, this is my whole world. And my wife is as important to me as anyone else. And so just because I'm not on the Oscars doesn't mean I'm set up to let her be sucker punched by anybody.
Absolutely not.
That being said, for me, I look at it and I say, anyone could make a judgment about what they would do, me included. I'm not saying I would or wouldn't do what he did. But what I'm trying to do is I'm questioning what you're saying, as in what you think might have been your response. Because it stemmed from the question of this. The question is this. Was Will Smith being a man, manning up for his house when he did that?
When he did what?
When he slapped. When he slapped.
No, he was being, now, in my humble opinion, and I'm taking Will out of this.
Fair, because it's your man, and I really respect that.
That's my guy.
And let me just pause so that I can put this. We're not having an esoteric conversation. Dondre and Will are friends and have been friends for a long time. So out of respect for your relationship with him, I can pull that back because I love you and respect what you do and your friendships that much. But in the event that a man were to take that stance, is he being a man?
No, he's being a male. No, he's being a male and he's being a punk.
Okay, that's fair.
He's being a male and he's being a punk. Because let me tell you what would have happened, Steve. Just so everybody knows how real I am and how real this conversation is. If that had happened to me, and I don't give a damn who it was, Will Smith, Mike Tyson, Jesus Christ. If you slap me, here's the only thing that could have happened. I remain professional. We finish the show. You come backstage, and I say, my bro, we need to talk. I'm giving you two options, but you can only leave choosing one. Number one, you're either going to jail because I'm pressing charges, or two, I turn on my phone, we go Instagram Live, Facebook Live, TikTok Live, everything live, all the way live. You turn on your phone, you do the exact same thing. Everybody in here turn on their phone. We go all the way live. And I'm going to slap the piss and taste out your mouth. Because here's what's, here's what's going to happen. Because your slap, to me, now lives in infamy. This lives forever. So now my slap lives forever because I am a man. When you disrespect a man, there are consequences that come with that. Now watch this. What I wish my brother had done, if he didn't do what I would have done in doing a preemptive strike and having a conversation with my brother. Why wouldn't I have a conversation with somebody in order to avoid something that I think could possibly be happening or could happen?
But can you talk to? But here, let's just say, because
bro, he's Will Smith. He can do whatever the freak he wants to do.
Okay,
he walked up on stage on national television to slap a man. So you trying to tell me he don't have power to go backstage to have a conversation with the host before?
But what about this? I mean, you know, we all have seen the Oscars, and as I mentioned,
absolutely know what could have happened because you got to know. Look, a part of being a man is. He paid a heavy price.
Let's be honest. Let's just marry him to Kanye on this one. All choice ain't free. And when
let me
one
tell you
makes
something.
a choice, they have to live with the repercussions.
This is why I wrote Male versus Man.
Let's get in there.
Because brothers need to understand what happens when you don't act like a man, when you don't perform like a man. When you perform like a male, consequences come with that.
Stay on that.
Babies come with that. Jail time comes with that. Loss of life, pension, funds, all of those things come with performing as a male. When you perform like a man, you don't have to worry. See, if I do a preemptive strike and I have a conversation with my brother because I already know Chris Rock. I already know Chris Rock gonna be Chris Rock. But if I sit there and I plead to him man to man and say, hey, man, this is a special night for all those involved. Let's have a dope night. He got plenty of other material. Okay? The G.I. Jane joke is not going to be a drop in the bucket for him to do his job.
It was funny,
hosting the Oscars.
It was funny, though. He laughed.
Okay? Right?
It was funny.
Even Will laughed.
But now watch this. This shit was funny. It was funny.
If
like,
Will,
I mean, it was a good joke.
Listen, when you look at how she looks now, and you look at Demi Moore playing G.I. Jane, it looks very similar. Of course, that's funny. But when you're in a house and you've heard your wife say, "You don't protect me. You don't protect me," it ain't funny no more.
Okay.
So now watch this. Here's what I want you to get. What I wish my brother would have done. And again, I'm getting back to this because if he'd have slapped me, I would have slapped. He wouldn't have looked the same. He would never look the same again. And I don't care who that is. And if I can't beat you with my hands, and you're gonna have to be somebody with some kind of belt, with years of training, for me not to handle you with my hands. If I feel like I can't handle you with my hands, a chair is coming.
Okay.
You
So
won't.
It would have got more complicated. Let's leave it there.
Oh, it would have got.
Let's just say it would have got more complicated.
This is what I would wish my brother would have done. I wish he would have done it from his seat, because that would have handled the situation. Because again, Chris is 85 pounds. He don't want no smoke.
Well,
he did say after all of that, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. He could have done that from his chair, minus the slap, and that would have put an end to it.
Let's just use tent posts as it is. I don't ever comment on Kanye West or Will Smith. I've never commented publicly on either one of them, because in my real life, this is what I really do. I really am in one of our classrooms. It really is almost 7 o'clock, and your folks are like, you told them it was only an hour, and y'all knew y'all wouldn't go too long. So I'm almost done. So relax, y'all. But where do you think the bookend of the behavior of Kanye West and Will Smith leave us in terms of the conversation about black men and manhood, something that you spend so much of your career talking about?
Well, let me just say this. So I see a couple of sisters, why y'all bringing this back up? It already happened. Why y'all bringing this back up? Ma'am, one of the ways that people level up, you don't always have to be the one to go through something in order to learn from something. We are not talking about this gossiping. We're talking about this in terms of talking about how we better perform as men, if you don't mind. The biggest way that I level up as a man every single day is I do what most athletes have to do, which is look at a film session. They look at how they performed during a particular game in order to figure out what they're not doing so that they can apply that information in order to better perform the next game. So us talking about this situation is learning how to better perform as men in order to avoid putting ourselves in that position. Nobody is gossiping, ma'am. So what I want you to get as our sister is sit here and be supportive of two brothers talking out how we better perform as men, if you don't mind. And I say that with all love.